Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about sublimation on faux leather. I am going to use primarily white faux leather sheets, but I'm going to show you some colors as well. So white faux leather sheets, and then we are going to use a sublimation HTV on it and some sublimation patterns. Then we're going to combine, my favorite thing to do, combine sublimation with Cricut crafting. So we're going to take these faux leather sheets and we're going to cut them into shapes. And these are key fob shapes. So you wrap these around a key ring and make little keychains. And I have a variety of shapes and sizes for you. So we're going to combine sort of sublimation and Cricut crafting and make some cute keychains. So let's talk about the supplies we're going to use today for this project. The supplies you're going to need are as follows. So you will need your faux leather. I bought white faux leather on a roll, and I will link to what I purchased below. I do prefer the white, but I'll show you some sublimation on some colors so that you can get an idea of what that would look like. You might prefer that. Then you'll need sublimation HTV. I am using this HTV Romp brand. People have been asking me to try this forever. Thought I would try it in this video. It is a clear sublimation HTV. Then you need sublimation prints. So this is sublimation ink in a sublimation printer printed on sublimation paper. And I do have a set of 4 watercolor floral designs for free. And I will link to those in the description below this video if you want to use those for this project or any other. Then I prefer butcher paper for the actual sublimation of this faux leather. So I'm going to use it, heat resistant tape, and a lint roller. Now, if you want to make something with this faux leather that we're going to sublimate, I will use my Cricut machine at the end of this video, along with some key rings, maybe some glue, that type of thing, to make some keychains. You'll also need a heat source, so you do need something that gets heavy pressure. I'm going to use my heat press. If you use an easy press, you're going to have to press down really, really hard, and I can't guarantee the results. I do recommend a heat press for this one. I do think the auto press would work. However, I'm not sure about the easy press. So let's take a look at how to sublimate on faux leather. First, you want to cut your faux leather as well as that sublimation HTV into sheets. How big are the sheets? So I used a paper cutter just so I could get straight edges. That is optional. You could definitely use a pair of scissors. And I made the sheets 8.5 inches wide. And then the leather itself was 12 inches wide, as well as the sublimation HTV. So they're the same size. So I cut them both to 8.5 inches. And the first thing we're going to do is put the HTV on the faux leather, and then we'll be adding the sublimation print. The sublimation print, I just printed on 8.5 by 11 paper. So I will have some excess on the sides that won't be sublimated. That's okay with me. You could print on 8.5 by 14 paper so that you didn't have any leather that was a waste. Now before we get started, the faux leather, there's like a smooth side, and then there's also like kind of a felt side. You're gonna sublimate on this smooth leather-like side. You do not sublimate on the felt side. So always do put your HTV as well as your sublimation on the smooth side of the faux leather. Now let's head to the heat press and sublimate. Preheat your heat press to 400 degrees, then add your butcher paper. Then we're going to add the faux leather sheet inside. I would recommend a heat press that is large enough to heat press this all at once, which mine is. I closed the heat press slightly to just kind of preheat the faux leather. Just removes any moisture that might be in my leather surface. I did not close the heat press all the way down. I just hovered the heat press over the faux leather for 10 to 15 seconds. Once that was done, I lint rolled the surface of the faux leather. Now, why did I do this? I found that with the sublimation HTV being clear, that any debris, hair, things like that on my faux leather would get trapped in between the HTV and the faux leather and show through my final project. Then I placed the HTV shiny side up onto the faux leather. Always keep it shiny side up. And I used heat tape in 4 places to tape it down. Align this as best you can, but we have the butcher paper under this for a reason. If your HTV hangs off the edge, it's not a big deal, and I'll show you why at the end. Then after you've heat taped the HTV down well, I heat tape it because it does tend to curl up. Then add a piece of butcher paper over the top of everything. Then go ahead and close your heat press you're going to heat at 400 degrees for 15 seconds with heavy pressure. Once that 15 seconds is up, open your heat press, remove that top piece of butcher paper, and this needs to cool before you peel back that top carrier sheet. I just left mine in the press, but it would cool faster if you removed it. Then, once it's cool, peel back that clear carrier sheet that's on the top of the HTV. Peel that back. You should see a layer that is left on your faux leather. It will be clear, but you will be able to see it. Then once that's peeled back, we're going to add our sublimation print, ink side down, and tape that into place once again. 4 pieces of tape. We can reuse the same 2 pieces of butcher paper here, and you could probably reuse the tape if you wanted to. Then we're going to add the butcher paper back to the top, and this time we're going to heat at 400 degrees for 55 seconds. Once again, you want heavy pressure. Then once that 55 seconds is over, open the heat press, and you can actually peel the sublimation print back warm. If it's too hot for you to touch, you could use heat-resistant gloves or let it cool slightly. Peel back that sublimation print to reveal that gorgeous sublimated faux leather. Let's look at a couple of things on this piece. I have not removed it from that bottom butcher paper. First of all, you might have noticed that it kind of melted as I was peeling off some of my butcher paper during the process. That is because this edge of the faux leather was not covered by the HTV. That is why we put that butcher paper on top, so we don't damage our heat press. The heat directly on the faux leather without the HTV in between it will damage the faux leather. However, I wasn't worried about this edge because, as you can see, my sublimation print doesn't even go to that damaged edge. So I'm just going to cut that off with a pair of scissors. Next thing, when I was lining everything up, my HTV hung over slightly onto my butcher paper. So this HTV is stuck to the butcher paper at this point, and you might find it hard to get off. So it will rip the butcher paper. It's okay, it does not matter. Again, the sublimation doesn't go all the way to those edges, so we could just cut it off. So I found the easiest thing to do was to just cut through butcher paper, faux leather and all the way down the side. So if your HTV is stuck to that butcher paper, just cut down the side, then it lifts super easily off the butcher paper without an issue. So that's what I do, I just cut all the way around if that HTV was hanging over and stuck to the butcher paper around the sides. So hopefully that tip will help you get it off of the paper. So now I'm able to remove this piece from the paper. And let's take a closer look at the sublimation design and some other pieces I made. Here's a close-up look of 3 of the sublimated sheets I made. So this is all white faux leather with sublimation print on top. And I must say, like, the leather is even smoother after you sublimate it. It is really nice, and it does not make it stiff at all. So you can still bend it, it still feels like faux leather. I'm really impressed with this technique and how great it looks. So these are 3 of the prints that I have for you, and I must say they all look amazing, and I think they'll make some really cute keychains. So we're going to turn those into keychains in a second. So this first print, I went ahead and put it on a couple of pieces of leather that is a different color. So this first one up here was this color, and then I added this sublimation print to it, and this is what it looks like. The second one, it was this color, I added this sublimation print to it. This is what it looks like. So you can see that any color of your faux leather will alter the look of your print. However, you might like this look. So they make faux leather in all different types of colors, so you can definitely experiment with that as well if you want to kind of change up this project a little bit. I removed all the white areas around the faux leather, so now I have a piece of faux leather that is completely sublimated, has a pattern all over it. Then I have a strong grit mat, and we want to put this face down on the strong grit mat. If you don't put this face down, then we're going to need to move the star wheels. You just don't want the material to mar up on the front. So we're going to press this down really well with a brayer, and then we'll head to the Cricut machine and cut this. You do want to be sure to mirror your cuts, and then I have the fine point blade installed. We're going to pick faux leather in Cricut Design Space as our material. If you're using the Explore Air 2, you'll have to turn your dial to custom. Now you can cut faux leather with any Cricut machine. I did not move my star wheels because I have my faux leather upside down and it is not going to affect this kind of felt that's on the back of this. So now we're going to press the go button to cut. Now this may be thicker than regular faux leather because you put that HTV on it. And also it may differ because of different brands of faux leather. So when a machine is done cutting, do not unload your mat and just pick it up from the side. Mine is cut through fine, so I'm gonna go ahead and unload it. If this was not cut fine, I would lay the material back down and I would press go to cut the same area again. But I'm gonna go ahead and unload my mat. And now we can see my cute key fob designs, and you can cut anything out of this. I cut key fobs, but you could cut whatever you want. And we'll just peel those back from the mat, and we have some gorgeous designs here. And now I will show you how to add these to a key ring for a fun design. Now you can put anything you want on the faux leather, obviously, so let your imagination kind of run wild with this and this key fob SVG file. I do have the SVG file for all of these linked in the description below this video, and you can get it for free along with the sublimation patterns. Now let's assemble these cut pieces into a keychain. So you do need some kind of key ring here, and then some type of fast drying glue. These are a couple of options that I found that worked pretty well. Any kind of fast drying glue that you have probably needs to say it is good on fabric, because you are going to be gluing this felted backing of this faux leather. And then something to put them under. I have like a couple copies of my book actually that I'm just setting those under to dry. So we're just going to put quite a bit of glue. I found this felt backing absorbs quite a bit. So like a pretty good bead, and then around the edge, quite a bit in the middle. Then we want to take this other side over here and just fold it up and run it through the keychain. And I found no matter the size, this was pretty easy to do. And then we just fold this over the glue, and the pieces are the exact same size, so you just line those up. And then you do want to get rid of any excess glue that might squeeze out. I found that not much squeezes out actually, so it does absorb quite a bit with that felt. So I'm just going around the edges, making sure none is going to come out of the sides. And then to dry, I'm just going to place it under something heavy. Stack of books, whatever you have, place it under there and then allow it to dry. And once it's dry, you will have a completed keychain. And you can see that I cut several different pieces of this faux leather that I sublimated. All of them worked great. And I actually have 6 different of these keychain designs, so tons of options for you to play around with. Here are a few of the keychains. They're just about dry. I probably need under the books for a few more minutes, but you can see the variety of shapes that I have, and you make them all the same way by putting them through the keychain, and they're the same on both sides, so they just double up. And this way you have a keychain that is finished on both sides. So if you make them using this template, you will have something that's finished on both sides. All that's left for you to do is to pick like which of these keychain shapes is your favorite and which do you want to make. Or you can start making them all. I love the concept of sublimating on faux leather. Now whether you make the keychains or not does not matter. I think that the concept of sublimating on the faux leather is a great idea. And you can use it for a wide variety of projects. So any faux leather project that maybe you've made in the past, consider using sublimation faux leather instead and incorporating some fun patterns into your projects. So I'm in love with the way everything turned out in this, and like I said, the faux leather is still really like flexible. You saw me shove it through those little keychain holes. Like it's still very flexible, does not turn out stiff at all. So I was really worried about that. But overall, it still really does feel like faux leather, even with that HTV. And then, of course, we sublimated on the top. And so even after heating it as much as we did, it still feels amazing. And then you can use my files. So you can use the files for the sublimation. So a couple different watercolor designs for you there. And then I also have that cut file for those key fobs in a wide variety of shapes. So all you have to do is decide which shape you want to make your key fob out of, cut it with your Cricut machine, and then use glue to assemble those key fobs. So I hope you enjoy this project and the idea of sublimating on faux leather. I would love to hear if you make anything out of faux leather, because I definitely think there's tons of possibilities with this craft idea. So if you have any questions about anything we've covered today, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you like this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.